So I want to come on here and tell you guys about a time that I had a premonition when I was visiting my cousins in Switzerland as a kid. I was like middle school age. It was summer vacation. I was there one summer visiting them. I was there for maybe like 3 weeks. And this one particular day, my cousins and I and some of the neighborhood kids, all the houses were close together. We were just hanging out, playing in the street, getting on our bikes and, riding our bikes to each other's houses. This one particular time, my cousins, me, and one or two of the neighborhood kids, we must have either walked or gotten our bikes, and we went to this kid's house just to stop in. I don't know, maybe we were getting a drink or something like that. And instantly, as soon as we pulled in the driveway, it just hit me. Like I realized that I had a premonition of sometime before of everything that was about to unfold. And it literally happened like clockwork almost. I could just predict each little, it was just nothing major, just very normal things, but I could predict every little step before it happened. And I remember just being like gobsmacked watching it all unfold and telling my cousins like, I literally like dreamed about this. I knew exactly what was going to happen. So as we got to the front door, I remember the kids, or I think we just walked in the door. I knew that the kid's mom was going to be walking up the stairs from like the basement, and I knew the stairs were going to be off to the left. I knew that she was going to turn over and like head over to us. And then I knew that she was going to offer us a glass of water or something. I knew exactly which direction she was going to go towards the kitchen. I knew which cabinet she was going to pull the glass from. And I'm just watching all this, everything unfold. So now, many years has gone by since then, and I think there were probably a lot more, or at least a few more details that I'm forgetting now. But still, all these years later, I vividly remember that happening. And it must have been some kind of dream that I had like several nights before. At least I think it was. I think when you're a kid, that you're just more receptive to things like that. Because I've had other other things. I don't know if you'd want to call them supernatural that have happened to me. That to me just seemed totally normal at the time because I didn't know any different, and you kind of just assume that everyone else is like experiencing the same thing. It's real. So much in our daily lives, we just have these five senses that we're all used to, that we don't think that there's anything beyond that. And or you think just because if we can't see it, then it must not be real. But the thing I always think of is when you go and get an x-ray and you're exposed to that radiation, there's a reason that they don't want you to be surrounded or too close to that equipment for too long, and the people that are the technicians have to wear those protective aprons, shields, to protect themselves from the radiation. And of course, you and I were not seeing any radiation, but just because we're not seeing it doesn't mean it's definitely very real. And so that's what I think about this kind of thing too. And my mom, I remember her telling us a story of when she was maybe in college, high school or college, and I think like 3 or 4 of her girlfriends were piling into a car to go on some kind of road trip somewhere. And I believe, if I'm getting this correctly, just at the last second, right before my mom was about to step inside of the car, she just had a change of heart. And I think she told us that she just, I couldn't remember if she had a bad feeling, or maybe she didn't even have a bad feeling. Maybe she just literally just decided, I think she did though, decided not to get in the car. And sure enough, like, they ended up getting into a car accident and everyone in the car was fine. But that one spot in the car in the back seat where my mom would have been sitting, that part was kind of like all crumpled in. So that would have been really bad news. So it really is interesting, these little the psychic phenomena that happens to some of us. And of course, I wish I had special abilities now. I think a lot of that has faded, except I will say I do feel like that I'm highly sensitive and intuitive. Probably so much so that a lot of times it maybe even feels like a curse. But I do think it really is a gift. But it's it is difficult though, because I just feel things on such a deep level that it's really hard for me to get out of my own head. And so when I go to a public place, anywhere public, grocery store, anything, any little expression on someone's face, or just a general energetic feeling when I'm approaching someone, if it feels a little bit off, I just absorb all of that, and it's can be really unpleasant. And I think all of us can do that, but maybe some are just more sensitive to it than others. And so it's unpleasant because whatever bad vibes or energy that they're giving off, like I'm just totally taking it on. And yeah, but that was a weird thing that happened in Switzerland. I do want to tell you about another time something happened to me growing up in church, but I think I'll save that for another video. And just curious if any of you have had similar types of premonitions, or just anything kind of supernatural, maybe some gifts that you have. Would love to hear about them. So anyways, I will sign off and talk to you soon.